Hi everyone. Well, again, this is Andrea with Miami Brandelorium. We're here today visiting Dulce Vida Mexican. It's a fast food type of restaurant where we're going to be able to try the most authentic Mexican foods, tacos. So let's go ahead and check out what they have for us, okay? Let's go, come on in. Alright guys, like I had mentioned already, told you, we're here at Dulce Vida Mex Restaurant. So let's go ahead. I want to ask a couple questions to the actual owner. So hi, how are you?
Welcome.
Thank you for having us. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your position here with Dulce Vida.
Well, my name is Nelly Olivares. I was born in Monterrey, Mexico, and I moved to Dallas, Texas. Well, my parents moved to Dallas, Texas when I was very young, and I moved to Miami 9 years ago. I am the owner, and I made my own menu just from recipes from my own house.
Wow, that's great. And how did you come up with the concept? How come you did Dulce Vida Mex?
So when I moved here with my husband is Dominican.
Okay.
So we would go, I'm a foodie, I love eating, I love food. As a Mexican, I love tacos. So I would go all over, town looking for a good taco. Sometimes I knew how to cook, but I just sometimes wasn't in the mood. So we would just go to different restaurants, but I was never able to find a good, authentic, taco, a tasty salsa, something that had the flavor of, Mexico. What I grew up with my parents, my grandma. So the more that happened, the more I would just gave up, and I just started cooking a lot at home. So when I did that, my husband would always say, oh my God, since he's Dominican, he's not used to the culture. So
Right.
He would just be like, oh my God, this is so good, Then his friends would come over. They would be doing stuff at the house, he does music, so they would be like doing different people would come over.
Right.
They would be at the house all the time.
Yeah.
So they would come over, and I would always be like, you want to have lunch? You want to have, dinner? And I would always be cooking, because I'm telling you, I just wanted to taste my good salsa and stuff like that. So all of them would always, made a comment like, why don't you open a restaurant? There's nothing like that in Miami, This is flavorful, this is so good. I've never had Mexican food like this. So the more they just said that, the more we just started thinking about the idea of owning a restaurant.
Wow, that's awesome. So the more people tasted your food, the more they fell in love with it, and they were like, why aren't you just open? There's nothing like this in Miami. That's awesome. That's great. And how would you describe, with no intro or outro, how would you describe in 3 words Dulce Vida Mexican Restaurant?
Made with love. There is no question about that.
And when your clients or customers come, what type of ambiance do you want them to experience?
I want them to feel like they came to my house, like they were invited to my house, and they're eating, what I cook at home.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. So family friendly, home.
Very homemade, like, they walk, to their aunt's house or their mom's house, and someone's cooking.
Oh my God, that's the best. And I think there's nothing better than to go to a restaurant that you feel like you're at home. Having like a home cooked meal,
Yes.
I think that's always the best type of food, right?
Exactly.
Rather than having commercial food.
Yeah.
So I love that concept and I love that idea. And what would you say is your signature dish, like your most best-selling dish?
My birria tacos,
Birria tacos? And what does that include?
the bestseller. Okay, so I came up with that recipe because where I grew up in Mexico, we don't make birria there. It's from more like the south part of Mexico, and I grew up in the north. Living in Texas, my mom never had birria at the house, but it became very popular. So my husband asked me, why don't you, make birria? I was like, you know what? I like it, but the meat that is originally made with, that's not everything that you eat in my kitchen, just to kind of tell you something else, is like something how I like to eat it, right, personally. So I was like, no, I don't like to make, they usually make it with goat, the original recipe. I don't like goat. So I would just be like, no, and I would just be putting it off. But one day I said, okay, let me try it, but I made it my own way. I grew up in Texas, so we use a lot of brisket. We eat a lot of that, growing up in Texas. So I said, I'm gonna make my recipe with brisket. And that is what has made a big change in my business, especially after COVID. I came up with my own recipe. I saw different recipes on YouTube, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna make it like that. I'm gonna make it the way I like it for myself. I started making it at home, and then I really came up with a good, tasty recipe. I tried it at here, but you know, whenever I came up with the recipe was in 2020, like September.
Okay.
And there was no business still, you know, even after COVID. So I would make it like a special on Wednesdays. So I would have it every Wednesday because it was my slowest day. And then people started asking on a Saturday, where are those tacos? So the more they asked, then I started making it every day, added it to the menu, and that has been a game changer.
Oh my God. Well, are we gonna taste that today?
Yes, that's what you'll be tasting.
All right, great, great. And in Mexico, is there like a specific drink, a soda, juice that, you know, it's popular over there?
So when you go especially to a Mexican restaurant, they usually have horchata. I am actually adding it to my menu. As of next week, we're gonna add it. But the same thing, I had never made horchata at home. It's like, that's more like when you go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
But again, I started trying out recipes, I started trying different things, and I came up with my own recipe. And I'll be having it starting next week.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for having us today. I want to go ahead and check out exactly what you're talking about, the tacos. Let's go ahead and check it out and see how it tastes. And I think, again, thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming in.
Alright guys, so as you saw in the interview, she was explaining to us about the birria tacos and the birria quesadilla. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick taste of how this authentic taco is, okay? Like she had mentioned, she actually creates it from scratch and she has her own recipe. So let's go ahead and take a quick bite. I like to add lime to my tacos, so I don't know about you. All right. And then let's add a little bit of, I'm guessing this is spicy sauce. emphasize that a little bit because I'm not too much of a fan of spicy sauce, so I don't want to overdo it. But look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Mixes. Let's go ahead and dig in. Guys, this is amazing. All the flavors are just right. That spicy sauce that I put, just a tiny bit, that's really spicy. It's really spicy. However, you feel the meat's flavor is delicious. Very tender, very soft. It does melt in your mouth. It has cheese, which the mozzarella cheese, it gives it that nice kick to it. Guys, look at the onions, the parsley in it, the seasoning, the cheese melted inside with the meat. It's amazing. Honestly, delicious. And to top it, you can never go wrong with accompanying your Mexican food, tacos or quesadilla with Jarritos guava flavor. It's one of the most selling sodas in Mexico, so you definitely need to try it out. Oh, it's so refreshing, and it tastes literally just like guava. I love it. I love guava. They have different flavors. They have mango, mandarin, fruit punch, and then they also have orange. But it's really, really, really good. And they have tangerine as well. So definitely they have a variety of different flavors that you can be able to try out. Now we're gonna move on to the quesadilla. Look at how this quesadilla is. It's pretty much the same concept as the tacos. The only difference is that it's in a quesadilla form and it doesn't have the onions and parsley. So let's go ahead, but it does have the mozzarella melted into it. It does have the meat. And it is dipped into that Iberia broth. The Iberia broth, it's dipped into the quesadilla. That's why it has that orangey flavor, color. Wow, it is so good. That meat, it's so nice and tender. Usually when it has, other foods that could have meats, you have to really chew. This is, it really does melt in your mouth. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. So there you go. You have both sides. This is one of their most selling dish, which is the Iberia quesadilla, and then as well as their Iberia tacos. So when you come to Dulce Vida, you want to make sure that you come and check out these two plates. You won't regret it. Hi everyone, so this is it. You were able to experience what an Iberia taco was and an Iberia quesadilla as well. It was honestly the best that I've tried. A 10 out of 10. Now let's go ahead and check out other restaurants. Thank you for tuning in.